Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the DeTalented podcast. Tonight, we are going to continue our Christmas horror crazy series. And we're going to talk about Christmas week of 1987, where a man strangled, shot, drowned, killed his entire family, and then even went for some bonus kills. As always, I am here with my bestest good buddy, Mr. Jimmy DeTalent. Jimmy, say hi.
What's going on?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Having a good week?
Having a great week.
Good. Do you have a good trip over here on the way here?
No, I did not.
You know, dude, I love Christmas, but not going to lie, dude, the worst part about it is traffic. I hate traffic anyway.
Yeah.
Christmas traffic.
Well, yeah. This was just a series of unfortunate events.
A series of unfortunate events. Yeah. You know, that happens. But before it happens to you know what you should do?
What?
You should go ahead and click subscribe to the channel. You should like the video. You should comment on the video. Make sure you click that notification bell so that you never miss a video when the DeTalented podcast posts another video, which we do. Did you know we post videos every single day? We post short clips. We post shorts. And we are on TikTok, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, all of the things that you can be on. The DeTalented podcast is on.
We're there.
We are there.
We're there.
Man, I think this thing we're looking at tonight is probably one of the most disturbing Christmas stories that I've ever seen. And I'm not going to lie. Last week when we did the episode about Mr. Pardo, the Santa Claus killer, I thought, man, it can't get much worse than this. Bro, we have found one that is worse.
Yeah, this was pretty
than
rough.
that. It is absolutely crazy, this story. But before we get to that, I just want to drop a quick reminder. January 8th. Jimmy, do you know what January 8th is?
I do. I know what it is.
Dude, January 8th, we will be sitting down with the sole survivor of the railroad killer, Miss Holly Dunn. I'm super excited, man. Going to have her in and just to get her story. To be honest, I don't know how much we'll even talk because, man, she's been giving her story for quite a few years now, and it's so inspirational and so good. So I'm looking so forward to that. So don't miss it. Mark your calendars. If you are on this DeTalented podcast bandwagon, and you know you are, make sure you're watching on January 8th when we premiere at 6 p.m. with Miss Holly Dunn, the sole survivor of Angel Resendez, I think was his name. And that's definitely his name. I just don't know that I'm saying the name correctly.
I got you.
And she was the only one to encounter and survive him when he was doing the unspeakable things he did. Yeah. You excited about that one, man?
Man, I am. I'm really excited to sit down and let her share her story.
You know, that's one of the cool things about the podcast, man, is we've had an opportunity to talk to some pretty cool people, some law enforcement officers. We got to talk to one of my favorite episodes when we talked to Neil Combs, who was somebody who has recovered from serious addiction, and I seen him the other day. I mean, we need to probably have him back on the show one of these days. But it's just so, and you know, it's just fun to be able to sit down and talk to people. And but you know, right now we've been on this kind of true crime kick, and we've been talking about some of this crazy stuff that happens. Man, if there's one thing that I think nobody can disagree with, it's the fact that we live in a crazy world, man.
That we do, and we talk about that all the time. It seems like it's getting crazier. It
is. But you know, but even though like this story that we're going to talk about tonight, it's crazy, but man, it was in 1987. So I know for those that are watching, yeah, this was a story that happened a long time ago. But I know it's the first time that I came across it when I was looking into some things to talk about on the show tonight. And the things that this guy did and the story of how it happened and everything is just absolutely nuts. And you're right though, because I do feel like the world's getting crazier, and that's scary because if it was that crazy in 87 and here we are in 2025,
yeah,
you know, we were 12 years old, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And maybe it's not getting crazier. Maybe it's just more
access.
Information is at our fingertips, you know, and we can find out real time, second by second, what's happening.
I think men have grown more evil. I do think it's gotten crazier, man.
Yeah.
I think that you made a correct statement. I don't think that those times back then were peachy, like there was never anything that happened.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that nowadays, back then you didn't hear about the things that go on at like schools or that kind of thing, and so I definitely think that the world's gotten crazier because people have gotten crazier. But man, people have always been crazy.
That's true. And I don't know, man. It just seems like around here, and maybe everybody says that in their area, but man, there's always something going on around here. We made national news
We
again.
did. Oh,
last week.
Oh man. Okay, let's not do it now, but let's pull that up at the end of the show.
Yeah,
we need to talk about that.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Because
don't let us forget that, producer Rick. We need to talk about the
just remember DoorDash.
Yeah, DoorDash.
Oh, I know. I was trying to think of what it was. And, yeah, I definitely know what that was.
Yeah.
By the way, say hi, producer Rick. Producer Rick, as always, is in studio with us over there, man in the keys, man in the buttons, doing all the things that we're not doing.
Hello, world.
He's got a mic.
And loving that hat. If you could see the hat, that's my favorite hat that
I know
producer
a ghost.
Rick has.
I know. I like it too.
The
It's
world
awesome.
is being televised.
That is that is correct.
That's absolutely true, man. And I think back then, had there been the cameras and stuff that there are now, there would have been a lot more
For sure.
of these stories. You can't go anywhere that you're not on camera.
No.
I mean, nowhere, dude.
You walk down your street and everybody's
got you on
every blink, every doorbell cam is going to pick you up walking down your street.
dude. There's very few people that don't have it. You know what I mean? Everybody does.
Well, when you can pick up a set of 4 cameras for $200.
Yeah, or just one. You know, like them blink cameras. You can get. I think it's $35 or $40 to get the doorbell camera, and you get the app and a $10 subscription, and dude, you're golden, man.
Yep.
You know, most people can swing that, and they do, and man, rightfully so. Although I'll be honest, my doorbell camera drives me crazy sometimes, but
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it picks up everything.
Everything.
I mean, dude, they're big. I mean, every time I'm always messing with the sensitivity, trying to get it to not catch everyday traffic that goes, because I live on a pretty busy road, and so dude, I'll be sitting there's like ding 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 ding, because it's like in the morning when people are going to work, and then when my kids are getting off school, dude, my camera is going nuts.
Well, and I had to set I have a tree right there in my front yard, and every time the wind blows. It was going off.
I got one. I don't have just a doorbell camera. I have cameras all around my house. And when we have to make sure our privacy fence is closed, the gate is latched, because if we don't, every time that gate swings from the wind, dude, that camera goes crazy. And it'll drive you nuts. And you can disarm them, but then what happens when you disarm them? You always forget to turn them back on.
That's right.
So for tonight, man, we're going to talk about this guy. Named Ronald Gene Simmons. Have you ever heard of Ronald Gene Simmons? Now, I know you've heard of Gene Simmons.
I definitely have heard of Gene Simmons, but not till today. Honestly, I did not know this story until a few hours ago.
I did not either, man, until I really started looking. And let me give a little disclaimer real quick for all of our viewers out there. We are not the kind of true crime shows that's going to know all the facts. We're kind of reacting to this and discovering it with you, the viewers. We've done a little bit, but we're going to kind of learn as we go. But man, this story is absolutely nuts. Ronald Gene Simmons, man. I believe it said he was born in 1940. Yep. And he was born to a good family. But when he was just a toddler, his dad tragically died of a stroke. And from that moment, his life started kind of spiraling out of control. They said that he couldn't keep himself out of trouble in school or in anything that he did. And his parents, his mom remarried into a good man, and they loved him. And they literally tried everything they could. They tried to discipline. They tried to get him, they tried to get him help. They tried to get him all the ways. But man, he just always stayed in trouble. And then finally they said, okay, let's try to send him to military school to see if that will make him more disciplined. And boy, did it. It completely changed him. And it turned. Let me ask you that, man. Are you a control freak?
I'm not. I'm really not. I know you are.
I am a control freak in my home, but not not detrimentally to my family.
Yeah.
I want to be in control. If I'm not, it don't send me over the edge, right? Ronald Simmons went to the military, and it was a perfect fit for him. While he was in the military, he was decorated, he was super disciplined, and everything that was. Hey, hold on a minute, okay? We're in the middle of shooting. Sorry, guys. Oh my Lord. Listen, we're in a studio and there are some other people downstairs, and they will just come right up the steps on us. But anyway, he went to the military. And
You know what's funny? I didn't even hear that.
You didn't?
Somebody was.
I saw the light.
I know, and that kind of that kind of got us. You know, now the lighting's going to be all weird because that light's on over there. But you know, you want to turn that off. Hey, it's okay. This we shoot, and this is what happens while we're shooting, and it's just the way that it goes. Man, what if he just crackled over in that chair right there, man? He just rolled right down.
I'd be like, "Are you okay, Jimmy?"
Oh no.
He'd be like, "Yep," and I'd be laughing.
Oh my goodness! Did you unplug your headphones?
No.
Oh, do I got you on that long of a leash? Yeah. Good night. Where were we, man? We were talking about Ronald Gene Simmons, and he'd gone to military school. When he got done with military school, it was such a good fit. He went ahead and joined the Navy. I know that. And when he joined the Navy, he actually was decorated with different medals, and he actually achieved before he retired from the military.
He had a 20-year career.
Yeah,
in the military.
He retired a master sergeant, which
yeah,
pretty good,
yeah,
high rank for a non-officer, and so it really did well for him. But during his stint in the military, while he was in there, he met this girl named Becky. I think her name was Rebecca, but she went by Becky, and they did like a lot of military couples do. They were married young. And on the outside, they looked pretty much like any other young military family. They began to have children, and in all, they ended up with 9 kids. That's a lot of kids. But while everything looked normal on the surface, there was always trouble brewing in the home because Ronald,
due to his control.
To his control. He wanted to control every single aspect of everything. And so they kind of went on and it was one of those relationships, and you see that all the time where the relationship on the outside looks like it's really good. You never know anything's going on, but then behind closed doors, inside the 4 walls of the home, it was a living hell for that family.
He did the bills. He did the groceries. He didn't let her leave, right? From what I understand.
Yeah, I think he had he had his thumb on her.
She couldn't wear makeup.
Yeah.
She had to wear these long dresses. Like he really had his.
He had her pinned down.
That's insecurity attached to evil.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Wouldn't let her leave. He wouldn't let. They didn't have a phone.
Yep.
She had to write her family letters. She had to write her family letters from a different address,
so they wouldn't know where
yeah.
So it's crazy how somebody. That's what I'm saying. So yes, to answer the question earlier, I do have control issues, but this dude's 10 levels, 100 levels up, right? To where he wouldn't even let his family experience, life. In fact, one of the little girls. It was really ironic because at one point while she was in school, and I forget which one it was. It wasn't Sheila. It wasn't the one that we'll talk about in a little bit. It was one of the other ones. And as a matter of fact, I think her name was Becky. She's named after her mom. She wrote this essay or some kind of paper about what a family should be. And she knew, right? She knew what a family should be like. She talked about how kids have parents so that the parents can take care of them and so that they can protect them and so that they can, do all these things. And she laid out all this. She kind of laid out this outline of what a family should be, but it was the exact opposite of what hers was, because she lived inside this home where they weren't allowed they weren't allowed to do anything. They better not talk back. They better not show him any disrespect. He carried that military discipline into his home, but man, I've known a lot of military guys. I have a lot of friends who are in the military, and a lot of them are really disciplined, and a lot of them are disciplinaries in their home, but that doesn't mean they're abusive or
Right.
doesn't mean that they're out of their mind. This guy was way crazy, right? It was like
he was doing it as a child to his siblings.
Yes. He always had that control. So see, I think what happened was when his dad passed and he was that young, and it affected him so deeply. I think that's what they said, is that kind of the way that he reacted to it is he always had to have, be in control of his life. Like he felt like he didn't have any control of that. Like his dad died, his mom met a new man. They married his stepdad, who was a good man. I don't have his name, but he was a civil engineer, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so that took him all over the country. They moved
Right.
constantly. And so this kid, Ronald, it felt like he absolutely had no control. Man, as a child, man, you got to think that's probably pretty, pretty hard to live like that, to never feel rooted, to never feel like you've got like a solid foundation, to always kind of be stuck in the middle of, or even worse, not stuck in the middle, but literally jumping around everywhere to where you don't even know where you're going to wake up the next day or whether or not you're going to have. I mean, think about how hard it is as a little kid, especially as I think when you're super little, it's not that hard. But when you get a little bit older, kind of up around, the middle school age, how hard it is to make friends, how hard it is to maintain friends and to keep that. And so he spent his life kind of bouncing around all over the place, and he never felt anything solid or anything really, really rigid until he got into the military. And then that gave him, I think he liked that discipline and that regiment so much that his brain, his egg yolk fried, and so he kind of forced his family and everybody around him to kind of live like that. But he could only do it to the people that he had absolute control over.
He had control of his own little world.
Yep.
And if you look at that, though, when he got out of the military, it looks like he moved around and bounced around to a lot of odd jobs.
Yeah,
It felt like he never really quite got it together after the military.
Said he could never find anything that fulfilled him, and he never could find anything that he was successul at.
Yeah.
The guy was literally, kind of like bred for the military. I mean, the guy probably would have been, I don't know, I wouldn't say fine, but, he probably would have been better off. I'm sure he would have, if he would have just been one of those military dudes who stayed single all his life, had girlfriends maybe, but just never really had a family, because that gave him, he created his own victims. He created a world that he could control. That's what he did. He created a world that he could control, and he confined them in whatever home they were living in at the time. And they ended up living in this little crazy place that was 2 trailers put together. Yeah. And it was nuts. And so these kids, they lived their entire lives, in this controlled, crazy, chaotic, completely fear-filled world. Yeah. They were completely scared of him. Man, I don't know what man, so I had a healthy fear of my dad growing up. Right. Like I didn't want to be on the business end of a whooping. Right. But I was never fearful of my dad. Yeah. Like I never, there was never this fear of, oh my gosh, my dad wants to hurt me, control me. I knew my dad wanted me to succeed in life and to grow. But that's not what he did. These kids were literally stuck in a prison, man.
Yeah. And
not to mention his wife.
And the living conditions were not optimal. From what I understand, that he had, I think it had it had electricity. It didn't have plumbing, so they had outhouses they had to go to. He didn't have central heat. They had one room, which was his, that had a window unit air conditioner, yep. Right? So, I mean, he, like you said, he created this prison, and it was just really deplorable if you think about it, and that became, unfortunately, the normal for these kids.
That's all they knew.
And then if you look at it later, he was losing control when they were getting old enough and they were moving away.
Yeah, they were marrying off.
He started that all that control he had was slipping through his fingers.
Yep, he could not handle it. And it's funny because you mentioned the deplorable conditions that they lived in, and one of the things that we'll talk about here in just a minute is the fact that he had them do something because he knew what he was planning to do, right?
Yep.
And it was one of the things that we're talking about. He had I'll go ahead. He had all these kids. Let's because we need to talk about Sheila. That's what we need to talk about now. So there's 9 kids. And at some point, his daughter Sheila, which I believe was the oldest daughter, he began to have an inappropriate relationship with his own daughter. I think she was pretty young. You know what? We haven't even showed him yet. Let's put that on the screen. This is Ron. This is Ron Simmons, man. What's funny? It just hit me that we got Gene Simmons and Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons was one of the big wrestlers, right? He was,
him and Booker T were partners.
And Booker T, yeah. So
if you put a swastika on his forehead,
he is Charlie.
He's Charlie Manson.
He does look like Charlie. What's up? I'm surprised
and
he's not
what's
named
crazy?
Charlie.
He died when he was 50.
Yeah.
And
he looks
that picture was taken sometimes before he was 50 years old. So that dude was probably in his 40s there. Guy looks like he's 70.
Looks like he's dead on the inside.
Oh, for sure. Look at those eyes.
Yeah, I'd say he was dead on the inside for a long time.
Yeah.
And so so this guy, man, Ronald Gene Simmons, he began to have an inappropriate relationship with his daughter Sheila at some point in her life when she was quite young.
I can tell you the first time it happened, they were on their way to California for a convention that he collected rare coins. And they were going to a convention, and there was a hotel room in Arizona, I believe.
Okay.
And that was the first
time. Do you know
time.
how old she was?
I believe she was 17.
So it was when she was 17.
It was when she was 17.
Okay.
From what now I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read.
Okay. So at 17 years old, though, this poor child, this poor girl, starts, having this guy who she's scared to death of.
Yeah.
And having this inappropriate. Remember, there's words we can't say. He starts doing things to his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I started having children, my parents always kind of made a joke, and they said, what causes that, right?
Right.
And naturally, as Ronnie continued to have this inappropriate relationship with his daughter, nature took place, and she became impregnated by her father's child from this incestual relationship. Bro.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? So
No.
So not only that, here's where it gets really twisted though. Is
right here's a part of the story I started getting sick to my stomach.
I know.
Yeah.
He parades her in front of the family and proudly announces it to them and lets them know that they will all accept it. They will all be happy about it. He let his wife Becky know that she would help raise this child, that this child would be integrated into the family, and that everybody's just going to accept it, and it would be normal. And thank goodness, even though it didn't really serve any of them in the end, but thank goodness. His oldest son, Gene Simmons, which is funny, right? These names are funny. His oldest son, Gene Simmons, thought it was, he's like, this is jacked up, right? You imagine? I think Gene was older than Sheila. I think he was the oldest boy. I'm pretty sure he was older than Sheila. Can you imagine your father coming in and telling you that and expecting you just to take it? Because these poor kids, they weren't twisted in their head like their dad was. That's not something they got. They were all, it sounds like, and not to say that they weren't some messed up. I would think that they had to be, to just having gone through what they had gone through. But he thought it was disgusting. And so he went and he told Sheila's school counselor about the inappropriate relationship and what was happening. But Sheila, out of fear for almost a month, denied it. But the school kept pushing until she finally admitted that, yes, she was pregnant, and yes, that the baby was her father's baby. And so law enforcement started pressing in. And then at that point, when law enforcement kicked in and started kind of pressing him on it, he began to get squirrely, and that's when I believe he moved them away.
Yeah, that was New Mexico.
Yeah.
And then they moved to Arkansas.
They moved to Arkansas. And what was the name of the place they moved? It was real little. It was a blink and you miss it town.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it right now. I knew it earlier, but
the way she talked to the police, like you can tell she was brainwashed. Like she thought he loved her. I think that's
absolutely. So Stockholm, or is that what it's called? Stockholm's
I think so.
syndrome. Yeah, where you begin to think that your oppressor or whoever it is, you get feelings for them because
Right.
they convince you that they love you or care about you or whatever it is. And yes, she absolutely did. She tried to protect him the whole time. Yeah. The only reason that it ever came out was because the brother Gene.
Yeah, and he was 2 years older than Sheila.
Yeah. So that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
The baby was born.
Yep.
And it was his grandchild and his child. Can you imagine that? Your grandchild is also your child, or your child is also your grandchild.
Right.
And it's literally both. That child's both.
Yeah.
He is both of those to that baby.
So not only was Sheila this child's mother,
sister,
she was also the child's sister,
half sister.
Yeah.
Dude, that's, you talk about deplorable.
Disgusting.
Man. Yeah, it's like that's this dude. Talking about monsters, man. This dude's a monster, man. And he used, what power he had in his own home, to inflict this awful life on these kids, and can you imagine how the mother felt, like Becky, like his wife? Can you imagine what was going through her mind? Because she wasn't down with it, man. She wanted to get out for a long time.
Well,
she just couldn't.
At one point, she stopped sleeping in the same bed.
Yes.
Sleeping in the same room.
Yes.
And that was another thing, too. He had one room. It was his. Nobody else went in it. And it was the only room in the house that would lock. And then it come to find out, like he had, it was a nice room. He had books in there. He had beer in there. He had, like, gourmet food in there just for himself.
Man, I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so this all happens, and years go by, and the Sheila, the daughter, as she becomes older, she meets a nice guy, and she gets married, and she moves out. This is the part you're talking about, where he knew he was losing control of his kingdom that he had built. And so at some point, I don't know if it was a few weeks or a month or how long it was, but he made the kids, and they didn't know why, but he made them go dig a new pit, a new cesspit.
Yep.
Is what they called it. And that would end up being where he put some of the bodies of his family who he killed. But he literally tricked. So what was the date that it happened? Shortly before, the morning of December 22nd, 1987. The first thing he did was, who was his wife, Becky, who, by the way, was secretly trying to get help to get away from him.
Yep.
She was trying to leave him. He gets a hold of her, and he strangles her, and he hits her in the head with a hammer, and he kills her. Right? That's how he killed her. Is that correct?
He shot Becky and his son Gene with a .22.
Well, okay, that was after. I know he hit her with a hammer.
I didn't see that part.
But regardless, yes, he did. He did. He shot them both with a .22. Those were the first two kills. His wife and his oldest son. Then he reached out to his children, and he told them all, "Hey, I've got a Christmas present for all of you." He said, and so I need you all to come and get him. But here's the deal. He put conditions on it. So now here's the first thing I got to understand is getting a Christmas gift in that home was not normal or expected.
Right.
It's not something that they did or something that they were familiar with. And so they were super excited, right? Especially the kids, the younger ones. They were like, wow, we're getting a Christmas present. But then he throws this stipulation on them. And he says, hey, here's the deal. I don't want to give them to you all at once. I need to give them to you one at a time on a, personal. Now, dude, I'm not going to lie. By this point, I would think if I was one of these kids, anybody that knew him or was in a relationship with him, that lived in his home and under his regime, I would be sketched out a little bit. Why?
But you think about it though, man. He had beaten them down so much. There was a little bit of brainwashing there. I don't think it was just that easy. I mean, I think he had his thumb on them for so long, even though some of them were out from his control.
I definitely think there was some brainwashing in there, but even more than that, like even if they were out, I think they still had that
fear.
What he says, we have to do.
Yeah,
it's like this isn't a request or this isn't something we have an option not to do. Like we have to do this because he said so. One of them dads, like I had a dad like that. It's like if he told me to do something and I said why, he would literally say because I said so.
Right.
But that was kind of like it was true, and we did because we I did it because we respected him, and I had a healthy fear of my dad.
But his motive was way different than this guy.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. But this guy's motive was always, complete, utter control over every aspect of their life. So he tells them, he said, okay, I got these gifts, but I'm going to give them to you one at a time. And as the children come to him, the way that he killed the kids is that he strangled them and drowned them in a full rain bucket, a barrel of water. And that includes the little child / grandchild. Man,
3 years old.
Yeah, 3 years old.
Yeah.
So now we're getting to the point where here's where we say, we go back to there's bad men, there's bad people, and there's evil people.
Right.
This dude was not bad. This dude was completely off the chain evil.
Oh yeah.
This dude had the devil in him, man. This
personification.
This is demonic, right? There's no other way to put it. Like this isn't something that a normal brain would do. It's not something that a normal person who was even under duress or anything, right? These weren't what do you call it? These weren't crimes of passion. These weren't in the moment, heat of the moment.
This was thought
crimes.
out and methodical.
Yes.
And obviously killing anybody, that's terrible to take a life. But the way he did so in strangling them and drowning them,
dude, it's awful. It's like
that's not a quick death.
No, and it's not a. I mean, that's a very. I can't even imagine.
It's
man.
violent.
It leaves me speechless.
Yeah.
Especially now. Look, it's horrible for anybody,
It's
but
personal,
like producer Rick said,
yeah,
it's very personal. Yep. But a 3-year-old,
yeah,
dude, what the heck? But now here's the thing:
makes me sick to my stomach. Just thinking about like how can somebody be like that,
dude? It's ridiculous. It's just like I said. There's only one way. It's just evil, man. It's just complete, evil. It's just evil. But the thing about it is the child, the little 3-year-old, she was actually with her parents. So see what he did was so all the kids that still lived at home, he got them one at a time, and he did away with them in that manner. Okay, and those children that we're talking about now that he did that to, he put them in he buried them in the cesspool.
Yeah, it was a
pit
3 foot wide by 6 foot long. I'm not sure how deep it was,
but that's where
they dug their own grave.
Yeah, he had them dig their own grave, however long in advance.
And he stacked them up, and the first body they discovered was only 2 feet down.
Man, and so then when he's done with them, the ones that were away from the home, he called, and he's like, "Hey, it's time for you to come get your gift." And so Sheila and her husband come with the child, the child / grandchild, and he kills. I think he shot them, but he killed them, and he strangled the baby.
Strangled the baby,
Yeah.
and this was done with a fish stringer.
Is that okay? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So like a nylon fish stringer.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man, dude, that's just, man. You talk about sick, and this is 3 days before Christmas, man. And so he finishes what he wants to do, right? He gets done with taking the lives of all these people, his family, people, the people he should, he was
Protect.
to protect, and the little children, it said he put in trunks of cars that were at the end of the lane on the property. The middle children that he killed, we talked about that. He put them in that cesspit. And then Sheila and her husband and 3 other of the bodies he put in the living room around the Christmas tree, and he covered them with coats, except for Sheila. Because apparently Sheila was still his special daughter. And so he covered her with his wife's best tablecloth. But that's not all, because it's one thing to do that, but then it's what he did next that kind of tells you what this guy's like. He stacks them all around him in the living room of the home, and then he sat there for 3 days, 2 or 3 days.
Well, he went to the bar.
Yeah, he went to the bar. But then he got beer and brought it home.
Yep.
And he sat and watched TV.
Yeah.
In the room with the bodies for like 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I guess at that point, and I don't know what transpired during that 2 or 3 days. Obviously, only he would know that. But he wasn't done. He drove to town to an attorney's office, and he shot the receptionist.
And that was this. So this was the morning of the 28th. This started
the 22nd.
The 22nd.
Yes. So the morning of the 28th, he went to this attorney's office, and he shot Kathy Kendrick. And she was just the secretary at the attorney's office, but she was somebody that he was trying to talk into having a relationship with him, and she didn't want nothing to do with him. And so he added her to the list, and he went and he took her life. I think she died, right? She died?
Yeah, she did.
And then he went to a trucking company, right? For some reason.
Oil company.
An oil company. And how many people did he shoot there?
So he shot J.D. Chafin. He killed him. Then he wounded the owner, Rusty Taylor. So he shot 2 people there, killed 1, wounded.
What was the motive there?
I don't know if he'd worked for J.D. Chafin at one point. Like I said, he had a series of odd jobs, so that could have been one of his.
Could have been. I didn't list it that, though, because the next place he went was to a convenience store where he had worked.
And so he shot 2 people there and just wounded them, then not killed them.
But those were people he had worked with. So those we know there, though, he had a personal vendetta against them. I'm curious as to what happened with the oil company. Why he
I don't know.
why he did the
because
oil
then after the convenience store, he went to Woodline Motor Freight Company, and he shot and wounded a woman there, and that's where the killing spree stopped. So outside of his family.
And did you hear how it stopped? Like after he did that at that truck, I knew it was a trucking company. So I missed the oil company. The trucking company though. So when he was done, when he shot whoever he shot there,
he sat there.
He just sat down and waited for the cops
to
get there.
Secretary, waited for the police, and then
I bet the secretary was loving that conversation.
Yeah, he handed over the gun and surrendered.
Yeah,
without any altercation,
without incident.
Yeah,
told him what he had done.
So then, when it's all said and done, he had 16 counts of murder, 14 of which were his family. So all the people he shot at, he killed 2 of those outside of his family.
But he wounded 1 critically, I know, which was the owner of the oil company, I think, that you talked about.
Yeah.
And then and he wounded the 2 in the convenience store.
I don't know, it's not in here, but one of the people was just a complete and total stranger. It was a fireman. And I don't know if that was I think that may have been in the convenience store. Like, this guy had no ties to him at all.
So he just went in.
He was just there,
guns blazing. Decided to kill these people for no reason, man. Again, that goes back to our whole conversation of the difference between, mistakes in lives and people who have allowed evil to kind of creep in and take over them. Because, man, I feel sorry. I have sympathy for people that went through what he went through. He went through some stuff. But, man, we all go through stuff.
Well, and it was disturbing, too. Well, the whole story is disturbing. But they interviewed one of the ladies that he shot, and she said that while he was shooting, he was smiling.
Oh, yeah. See, he was, dude, at this point, by the point he got, I think by the time he got to where he was married her and had the family, I think he was beyond twisted.
Yeah.
I think his, any sliver of humanity that he had in him was gone at that point. And you can look at the pictures and man, I forgot to tell you, producer Rick, I got a folder on that desktop for you that's got some pictures and stuff in it. The ones that are labeled gross, don't pull those up, because those are just some image. Those are just images I had AI help with for some thumbnails and stuff. But there are some real pictures in there that are pictures of just the family, pictures of him. And there's one in there that says the family. It's right on my nose. If you look in the logo, that's where the folder's at. I put it right on my nose. There it is. Look at the one that says, pull open the one that says family, the family one, the Ronald, one down. One, there you go. So there's him after the crimes. Look at, dude, he's smiling right there.
Yep.
And then that's the family.
Man,
Dude.
he looks like Charles Manson.
Yeah,
It's so crazy.
He does. But if you look at that, I mean, look at that family, man. You would never know.
And through this all, he remained very quiet and never really stated a motive. Didn't have a manifesto. There was no letter. There was really no statement.
But did you know that when they finally did go to court during his hearing, he attacked his I don't know if he attacked the
Public
prosecutor or the
Like
public
his
defender.
defender?
I think
I didn't see that.
So they had to. So then they did the rest of the trial with him, like in, I don't know. They had to take him to a different location or whatever it was. But let me see if it says that. Let's see. Watching television in the morning. So that was the 28th. I seen it earlier. Capital murder. So Simmons was first tried for the Russellville crimes, and a jury convicted him of capital murder and sentenced him to death. He made an additional statement under oath. So this is crazy. So anyway, he attacked the defender. But listen to this, and I'm struggling because I don't have my glasses. So I'm going to read that all again. It says Simmons was first tried for the Russellville crimes. That was the crimes. That's where his family was. And a jury convicted him of capital murder and sentenced him to death. And he made an additional statement under oath supporting his sentence. He said, I, Ronald Gene Simmons, Sr., want it to be known that it is my wish and my desire that absolutely no action by anybody be taken to appeal or in any way change this sentence. It's further respectfully requested that this sentence be carried out expeditiously.
Well, and another thing, his intent was to commit suicide.
And he was too much of a coward.
But what happened, well, that probably, but he had botched all the other shootings where he couldn't kill all the people he shot. He only killed 2 outside of his family. He said that he didn't want to end up shooting himself and not be successful and end up being alive and incapacitated. So that's why he didn't shoot himself.
Here's the other question. Is one of his decorations in the military was he was like a marksman.
He said that. He said, it was stated, although he was a marksman there, he was never a hunter. He didn't know much about guns, didn't know much about shooting guns.
How can you be a master sergeant in the military?
Yeah.
And
how crazy is that, right?
Like, dude, that's strange to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
That seems like that's...
I can tell you that I took my kids to the range as they grew up, and Rachel is an amazing shot.
Yeah.
She was out shooting Marines.
Is that right?
Out at Red Brush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was
And
put on the shame.
I don't think all of them would, just because you're military, don't mean you're like like the king of guns or some expert. But you would think that most of them would at least know their way around it.
And maybe that was a statement, like you said, coward.
Yeah,
he was a coward, and that was an excuse.
And that was an excuse not to do it. Because my dad was a marksman. He was a marksman, but man, my dad, I don't know now, he's older, he's quite up in age, but man, my dad could shoot. Like when we would go shooting when we were younger, man, remember that? He could shoot. Yeah. Your dad could too. Yeah. Like that's why, and your dad was just only in the Salvation Army. That's what he always told us.
He spent a lot of time practicing shooting at his own vehicles.
Yeah, oh my Lord.
He was,
I bet didn't your dad?
If you grow up around here,
I know. I know.
You know how to shoot.
But I'm pretty sure didn't Uncle Jimmy throw pennies up in the air and shoot?
Yeah,
with a .22 rifle. Yeah, man, they could shoot, man. Mm-hmm. They both could.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And he had a penny, right? He had like the penny. Didn't he have a penny that he showed? Look, I shot this in the
he had
air.
a few pennies.
Yeah, like that's crazy, man. That is crazy.
I don't believe your dad, though. I don't believe anything he says.
You can't really believe a lot.
He took that out to the shed and hit it with a hammer and a nail.
Might have been.
Oh, he just poked a hole in it. I'm going to tell him this. He still tells the same. You know what? I used to maybe question some of their stories, but as we've grown older and I've met like people that have no idea, like, dude, I don't question them anymore.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many confirmed by third parties. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought they were fooling around or lying or whatever. But
we got a lot of good stories last night.
Yeah, we did. Didn't we?
Yeah. Where'd you get good stories?
Oh, from Dad and Uncle Gordon.
Oh, where were you at?
We were standing downstairs talking
after the service.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah. They do. Them they can tell some stories.
And they were backing each other up.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
like they knew.
They were finishing the story.
Yeah.
I told your dad, I was like, sounds like you were the bad one, and he's like, he's just telling his side of the story.
That's right. That's right.
That's true because I do think. I mean, Uncle Jimmy was the bad. Your dad was the bad, but they were both not good. But I think your dad was he was a year older.
Yeah,
and he kind of led the charge when it come to that stuff.
And then we had one uncle who was off the chain, and
Uncle
I think
Petey.
I think Dad got influenced by Uncle Petey.
Dude.
Yeah.
I think Ronald Gene Simmons got influenced by Uncle Petey.
Oh, man.
Isn't that bad? I'm just playing. But you know what though, man? It's seriously. This guy was this guy.
Yeah.
And so here's what I really thought was ironic. So he commits these crimes, right around Christmas. Like I said, this is a creepy Christmas story, man. Merry Christmas. And then he makes this request. He's like, hey, I just there's no other punishment suits the crime. And he makes this request, and they even brought in a board of whoever these people to decide whether or not he was even fit to make that statement. Right? Is this guy crazy? Can he really make this statement to waive his appeals, or is this? And they found him. They're like, yeah, man, he's making this knowingly insane. Not insane, but and sane. He's sanely and knowingly making these claims and making this request.
The world today would probably let him not get that.
Oh, I know. They would probably keep him alive for 45 years, and however long he lived. A huge number of people on death row die of natural causes.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Well, and to that point, there were other inmates on death row upset that
they wanted to kill him.
Yeah, because he wasn't going to appeal it.
They had to keep him away from everybody because they said he was hurting their chances of getting appeals because he was making and so.
Well, as a matter of fact, some of the inmates appealed for him, tried to appeal for him.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. How would they do that?
I don't know. That's what I read, though.
Forgery?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that. What's going to happen to them? Yeah. They're already on death row. We better not forge this.
That's against the law.
Yeah. We better not do this crime. They'll add 2 years onto us.
They should have put him in Gen Pop to really expedite it.
Yeah, but they protected him instead. But he was only on death row for like 3.5 years.
Wasn't this
the fastest execution in the history of the state of Arkansas?
Slick Willie signed off on it.
I was going to say here's what I just thought was really interesting is and here let me read the official what it says officially about it. On the 31st of May, Arkansas Governor, later President, Bill Clinton, signed Simmons' Simmons' execution warrant. And on the 25th of June of 1990, he died by the method he had chosen, lethal injection. So, some of the Jeffrey Epstein was not Bill Clinton's first.
No.
Ooh. We're on the list.
And
Whoa.
we're gone.
Episode 40. There will
Yeah.
not be another 40. There will not be 41.
You know what? I wanted to say that. This is a big deal. We are on
Yeah,
episode 40.
Yeah, man.
We have made it to 40 episodes. We've been doing this for 40 weeks.
40 weeks.
Not quite a year. Dude, we're doing good. I love our progress. We had a guy making fun of us last week. I said, thank you for your comment.
Thanks for commenting.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just fed the algorithm,
That's
buddy.
right, man. We enjoy it so much. So it's so fun. But so there's your creepy Christmas true crime story. And now let's get just real quick, man. Jimmy, tell us about Grubhub or Uber Eats or whatever
So
it is.
I think it was DoorDash.
DoorDash.
And yet again, Evansville, Indiana, in the
National news, baby.
We've gotten some national news stories as of late, and yet again, it was nothing positive. So what happened was a young couple on some weekend decided they wanted to get some Arby's. They didn't want to get out, so you know what they did? They DoorDashed it.
That's what a lot of people do these days.
That's what a lot of people do these days. I think their bill came up to about $34. They gave a $2 tip. I'm including that because that seems to me like that could have been a motive.
I believe that wasn't
this-
the
for
sole
this-
motive.
This DoorDasher to do what she did. So they got their Arby's, and as the wife was eating her Arby's, she began to cough.
I wonder who she voted for.
Man, I wonder.
I don't
She,
know.
the wife began to cough,
It's a
and she got sick and started throwing up. So the husband, I guess, started examining the bag of Arby's and noticed there was something that looked like it could have been sprayed on, or the bag was wet, right? So he went to he went there again, like we talked about earlier. Everybody has a camera. He went to his doorbell camera.
I thought about that when we were talking about those cameras.
Yeah,
earlier.
and I don't know, producer Rick, can
Hey,
you play a little bit of this video?
Look, show him what he did, or what she did.
So I can reenact this. I'm not going to actually pull the trigger, but you can see her in the video. She looks down, what I assume to be near the bag, and she takes one of these, and she begins to spray near the bag. Now, what she said was she saw a spider, and she didn't want that spider
Hey, hold on a minute.
to get in the bag of food.
Let me say that's one of the when she rattled that excuse off. I was like, wow.
She thought about that for a
She
while.
did.
What
She
what
saw
could
the
I-
video and
what
she
could
was
I
prepping.
plausibly
Yeah,
say?
I know. Hey, twist the safety of that back on before you throw it to me
Where's the safety?
like that. You just oh man, don't do that. Here, just give it to me. Oh Lord.
So yeah, she pepper sprayed the bag of food, and it made the wife really sick. And here we are.
Yeah, let's watch it
on national news.
Let's show it, baby.
do it.
Copyright. Oh, here, look. Watch how she.
And this is from Inside Edition.
Watch how she tries to be slick about it.
Sets the bag down.
They threw Arby's a little shout out there, didn't they? Dude's got gauges.
Yep.
She's gagging enough that it's made her throw up. And I come in here and I noticed that there was some type of spray on the bag. And that's when I went back and watched the footage from my doorbell camera and realized that the food had been tampered with.
You can say that again. When
You can
Carter
say that
watched
again.
the footage, he noticed
Here
that
we
after
go.
the driver
Watch
snapped the
this.
photo, she sprayed something that he believes is pepper spray.
She
Pesky
right on the
spider.
bag.
She looked
Why would
scared.
the
Saw
delivery
that-
driver
she
pepper
saw
spray
that
a
spider
customer's
down there.
food?
Now, here's my question, man. It ain't like the doorbell cameras are like camouflaged into the door frame.
Yeah.
What made her think that wasn't going to be on camera? Dude, she literally just was like,
I think
You
her
can't fix stupid.
Yeah,
I think
you
her
can't.
rage overtook her. That $2 tip really set her off.
You think that's
She-
what? I
think that's what it was.
That's definitely what it was.
I think that was
it
the
was
motive.
100% that.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that. We talked about it a few episodes. I mean, how that the service industry people are kind of going crazy over the tip thing.
Tips are getting
and
out of hand.
And dude, it's nuts, man. Like you said, you went to get ice cream, and
Don't make me relive that.
and you had to tip somebody who literally the only thing they did was swipe your card. They didn't even swipe your card.
I put my card in the machine.
Yeah.
They didn't even do that.
Yeah, and you tip because you felt like you had to.
And I did.
Right?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what that is? That's natural selection right there.
Right. Yeah, no doubt, man.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Apocalypse, she's first one gone.
Yeah.
Not even smart enough to know that there's a doorbell camera right
How
there.
do you not, as a DoorDash driver especially, walking up to many doors, you're gonna tell me that you don't look at that and see there is a camera.
You're gonna stand there and tell me you ain't got no lady fingers, no whizzy pip, no whisker biscuit,
Husker do's,
Husker don'ts. No, but dude, yes, Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah.
Inside Edition.
There
baby.
again, national news.
That's what
baby.
happens when you live in the big city.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
But here's so by the way, update. She has been arrested.
She has.
I don't know if she's made bond or not, but I heard that they slapped her with 4 felonies.
Oh, they probably everything they could get her on. They probably did.
4 felonies will get you prison time.
Yeah.
She's going to go to
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
She's
you got to
gonna go
ask yourself, was it worth it?
You got to ask yourself, did that $2 tip hurt you that bad?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, like I said, this tip thing's getting so crazy, man, where people, I see it all the time on on Facebook posts mainly, where people are like posting, like servers they'll blur out the person's name on the receipt, but they'll post pictures of the receipt and say, if you can't afford to tip, you shouldn't go out to eat. Your bill was $80 and you only tipped me $5, you cheapskate. Well, here's what I say to all of those service people watching. I'm a good tipper if I got good service. But dude, if service declines, dude, I got a point system and it starts dropping. And if you give me crappy service, at some point, that number can hit 0, right? And I'm not going to tip you 20% of my total bill if I sat here with an empty drink the whole time or whatever. Because and people can say, well, then you're cruel. What? No, I'm there. What's that? What are they called? Servers.
Yeah.
So if I'm not being served, I tip them for that. And then you go in these other countries, they don't even know what tipping is. They don't tip.
No, like I said, I was in Europe and they said, hey, don't tip here. They don't even that's not a thing. But now, let me roll back. Same thing for me too, man. I mean, I tip well. I'm, so to speak, in the service industry. I get out and I play music, and I appreciate tips. And I'd like to think that, I'm getting tipped because I hopefully played a song that somebody liked, or I did a good job, or I played a request, whatever the case may be. But
you get tipped by me because my wife's
but then you take it back, so I can see your
I
logic.
do not take it back.
You do. I've watched you dig in the bucket.
I've never taken it back.
And it looks like you've taken more. I think you've taken more than what you put.
Well, then that's not taking the tip back. That's
stealing.
That's taking a loan out.
That's assault, brother.
That's assault, brother.
Let me hit it from a different angle. What if it's this person's first time eating out in months because they can't afford to eat out?
And they're giving you $2 because that's all they got.
That's all they got.
Yeah.
And here you are being a jerk.
But that's what they literally say. They say if you can't afford to tip, then don't eat out. That's what they say.
Yeah. Some people like to experience life every once in a while.
I know.
Instead of being oppressed in their house.
I know. And here's what I always say is and they're like, well, we don't make that much per hour. It's like, you chose that. You don't have to be that.
Yeah.
You can be. This is America.
This is America.
You mean then you want to be
there again? I'm just the most salty about my orange leaf experience, where I don't even mind the restaurant tips, But literally, orange leaf. I went in there. I created my own ice cream, put my own toppings on,
swiped your own card.
Swiped my own card, and she said, "There's a question there for you. How much would you like to tip?" She didn't say that, but I could read it on the screen.
I would have said, "Oh, that's easy."
And then, like the schmuck that I am, I went ahead and tipped.
Okay, what percentage?
Probably 20.
Oh my god, dude, that's crazy.
I don't tip on that stuff. That's just
no.
I don't want to. I don't even feel like a jerk. So if I walk up to the counter and it's just nothing, I'm not going to tip you on your thing. If you're not serving me, you don't get anything.
No, and I'm gonna tell you right now, those people that work they're not on that server wage. They're making a maybe minimum wage, whatever, but they're making an hourly wage, right?
And that's why they're teenagers.
Yeah, they're
in
teenagers making that.
It's not a career.
Yeah, it's not a career, absolutely. But even if it is your career and you're out there, man, like you said, you never know, man. Somebody somebody might not have enough grocery money, but they can afford to go get a small meal or whatever it is at a restaurant. And if they give you, think about it, if all they have is $2 and they're giving you that tip, then really that's much bigger than you're giving them credit for, because they're giving you what they have left over, even though it's not much. We can go back biblical with that right there. Just like the widow who gave a few cents, and Jesus said she's given more than all of you, because she's given them out of the abundance of her heart, not out of, she's given out of need, not out of abundance, right? So, this girl, man, I think she deserves everything she gets.
Well, full disclaimer here. Maybe there was a spider.
She wasn't scared.
She looks like she would have ate a spider.
She looked like she would have trampled out of there like
she did look pretty calm.
Dumbo.
She did. Dude, it was complete. That was a complete little see ya.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, and I don't think it can be, because it's but you never know when someone could be highly allergic to something or something like that. You know what I mean? That could have hurt her worse than it did. Yeah. Can you imagine biting into your sandwich? Have you ever been around pepper spray when it got sprayed? Excuse me.
No, I've never gotten sprayed.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
It will choke. You've never had it?
No.
Oh, it's terrible. It makes you. It makes you feel like your throat's closing, your lungs.
I can
like
imagine.
Everybody thinks it's just your eyes. It's not. It messes you up.
Jimmy, can he demonstrate on you?
You know what?
I'm not spraying that.
Maybe
stuff.
not this episode.
Yeah.
We get 500 subscribers. We get. You know what? We get 5,000.
Can that be the giveaway?
We get 5,000
I can spray you with pepper
subscribers.
spray if we get 5,000 subscribers.
Let me rethink this.
Let me talk. It's too late.
Let me talk. Let me talk to my son Jay and see what his number is to get pepper sprayed.
Oh, his number's probably we already passed it like 25 episodes ago. Oh man. Well, once again, man, it's been a good time. I love doing this. And so, we're just a couple old grandpas that found our way to the internet.
That's all we are.
What'd you say? Hey, don't forget. Click that subscribe button. Click like. Click on the notification bell and leave us a comment, whether you like us or not. We appreciate the interaction, and we literally we respond to every single one of them that we can. And one reminder, Jimmy, tell them January 8th.
January 8th. We are really excited about that one. That is Holly Dunn is going to be here, and she's going to tell her story of what happened with her being the sole survivor of the railroad killer. And not only that, but what she went on to do after the fact. Just some of the charity that she's been involved with, and the Holly's House here in Evansville that is a refuge for battered women and children, and just such a powerful story.
Yeah, she's more than a survivor.
More
she's
than
a thriver.
She is a thriver.
Yeah,
100%.
she's thrived, and she's decided to pass that on to other people. Man,
Yep.
she's a remarkable human. And make sure I'll go ahead and tell you, and I'll be plugging it, especially that week that she's on here. But make sure, go to Amazon, pick up her book, man. She kind of chronicles the story there, and I'm sure that's a lot of the things that she'll kind of talk about when she's here. So we're looking super excited to that. And so without any further ado, from producer Rick and myself, I don't think anybody can say bye like Jimmy does.
Nope. He's got it. He owns it.
Well, bye.
I'm glad we ended on some levity there.
I know,
man. We had to shake off that story. Man, that was rough.
Oh.